Good morning, everyone. I request everyone to kindly switch on their videos for some time, if that's all right. Uh, Meanwhile, people start switching on their cameras. We'll start with a speaker introduction of the day. So, first of all, good morning, everyone. On behalf of the MCOM Committee of HR College of Commerce and Economics, I warmly welcome you all to episode 2 of season 5 of our Master League lecture series. We are pleased to welcome Mr. Devansh Jain, an alumnus of SRCC, EY scholar, and a former Hult Prize participant. He is currently an investment banking analyst at O3 Capital, bringing with him valuable insights from the world of finance and leadership. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Devansh Jain.
Thank you everyone for the warm welcome. Thank you, Dhanashri. Thank you for the whole team for inviting me here. It's a pleasure to be amongst you all. It's not the. Can I start or are you waiting for a few more people?
Sir, I think we can start. People will start joining. We have
Sure,
reached
sure,
the mark of 75.
sure. So it was not long back ago when I was in our place attending these sessions, just scraping to gather notes, trying to get some insights, key how to get that internship, how to get that job, how to just get into that interview. So all of those things, I think we all have faced, and I have also been somewhat of a part there. So the session I have broadly categorized into two. First would be about something about social entrepreneurship, those applying to those fellowships, scholarships, which I feel is a lot underrepresented right now, but it holds immense potential in terms of getting the funds and as well as getting a very good brand on a CV very easily in both of those terms. And secondly, in the second part, I would mostly talk about something, let's say, about how to structure a CV, how to approach placements, why IB, how to crack IB. So I know a lot of people might be thinking how to crack IB. It's a very, you know, so sort glamorous role key. We want IB, we are in finance, we want to go to IB. So how to go that? What is the reality? So that's what I have thought. And of course, feel free to ask questions anytime. We can stop in between. So I'm hoping this is a two-way session. Yeah. So I'm hoping my screen is visible to all.
Yes, it is.
Sure. Thank you. Yeah. So I think let's start. This is again, I have divided it into two. Matlab, I have somewhat plotted alongside the LinkedIn networking part as well. So just a few to those. So yeah, so now firstly speaking about, social entrepreneurship, scholarships, what is that? So I think there's a lot of stereotype here as of right now. We see whenever we are talking about social entrepreneurship, or if I talk about any, let's say specifically about social entrepreneurship, you all would have a negative connotation कि यार ये तो फालतू में एनजीओ का काम है, there's no career in it, there's nothing that I can do, this is just my ECA time pass में ही है, there's nothing extraordinary. But the fact of the matter is that this was maybe relevant somewhat 10 years ago, but right now the landscape has changed very fast. A lot of VCs are coming in also in this specific domain. We have a lot of I banks also just who are operating just for this uh, climate investment tech, all of those things. And we also have quite interestingly, some private equity guys playing specifically in this field. So when you see in terms of finance, there's a whole ecosystem that is being developed in which all of these are climate centric things. And how do you present yourself as climate centric? The best way is through social entrepreneurship or by getting bagging some scholarship. These are the two best ways possible. And trust me when I tell you, these are the most easiest ways as well. There's no rocket science, there's nothing that you have to do. It is just as simple as applying and taking the efforts to constantly apply on things, constantly going on for the applications. Nothing else. So let me just stop here and ask you a quick question. How many of you have already applied for at least one scholarship or fellowship or anything? Just a quick raise of hands would also work. I see one hand. So I'm assuming. So I'm assuming not a lot of people have applied, right? So I think primary reason for not of people to apply is that first is of course awareness, and second is also I don't know about this field. I don't have an idea. What will I do? Others might be better. I think those two are the primary reasons. And I was in the same position as well. I think I had my first big crack with social entrepreneurship when I got into the Mercedes-Benz B Business Fellowship. It's a fellowship hosted globally. I think around it started pretty recently, so it was not as big in last to last year. It was just pretty small. I think 300, 400 people, nothing big. So it is again funded by Mercedes-Benz. They have a partner in Germany, the DO school. They take, yeah, they have a partner in Germany, the DO school. And the main aim is pretty simple, They just want you to encourage to try social entrepreneurship. They are not asking you ki, yaar, give me a project, bring me the idea, bring me the executed idea. They just want you to have very simply an idea that you have thought about, nothing else. And thinking of an idea with AI cannot be tough. You can just read the newspaper and see what are the problems that currently are. One of my projects that I started under an active SRC I worked upon is similar project layer. The problem was very simple: cigarette butt pollution. Cigarette, when you smoke a cigarette, there's a at the end the butt is there. The cigarette butt is composed of 98% plastic and it can't be recycled easily because it is not segregated properly, right? So that's there is a perfect problem. Now coming on to some, you can just look around yourself and how to identify a problem, because I'm also sure that a lot of you would have this question. I also had this question. Yeah, theek hai, he just said and went identify problem and do. How do we identify the problem? So the approach to identify the problem is really, really simple. You just have to be a little bit observant around yourself, what is going on. Let's see. I think one of the ideas that also came in is home composting, right? Home composting sounds like an incredible idea. Like it is ticking all the boxes. You are getting to maintain a whole small mini garden types. You are recycling. You are recycling the waste. It should take all the way, and you are also saving financially, all the very minute, but you are saving financially on taking out trash. So it should take ideally all the boxes, and it's not very intensive that you need to take care nothing, right? But it doesn't work because there's a very long gestation period or time lag for to do that. So when you get a home composter, you have to typically do that for 30, wait for 30, 40 days, right? Nowadays, models are also coming up where people are selling the home compost. So it's just some supplementary income of 5, 6K per month, but that's pretty good, right? But then the gestation period is not for all, especially in today's life. Everyone is really busy, long professional working hours, other commitments, etc., whatnot, right? So what to do? So a solution can be pretty simple. Innovating a smart dustbin. It optimizes the main key things, that is the temperature, the worms, etc., etc., the climate, whatever it does, the whole ecosystem. So I have also worked on this idea, but I just didn't pursue it further because it didn't make sense for me to do the time commitment for this. I was not very to be just very blunt and honest, I was not the guy who would be the perfect fit for this idea because of my lack of understanding of IoT chips and whatnot others. I had a co-founder with me. He's still pursuing the idea, but yeah. So I think these are very simple ideas. If you just read the newspaper, you can just find a bunch of ideas. It can't be that tough. And post finding the idea, I think the one of the first steps is identifying the market. Ki what is actually the market for it? And there, I think first would be, of course, your internet search and everything. But second and most importantly would be secondary, the primary research that you are doing by going on streets and talking to people. And it is extremely simple, more than normally in climate things, especially if you're looking for an idea, you just have to talk within a radius of where you live 500 meters. You will of course find someone who has the same problem, and you have the solution for that. So it is very simple. So now coming on to the next step, right? You have identified the problem. You know the market size is enough that okay, it is an actual problem. It's not in my head. It's not in my head. Sorry, and the problem is validated. Now, how do you proceed next? So that is exactly where the scholarships and fellowships come in. You don't need to have the solid execution plan. This will happen now. This is step one. This is step two. This is step three. This is step four. Once I have step four, I will get access to the fellowship, scholarship, etc. No, the fellowships and scholarships are built for you when you're at step one. They don't want you to be at step four. If you're at step four, all good. That's the best. But if you're at step one, please apply. They're more than happy to get you in. And this is not just Mercedes-Benz, this is XYZ number of fellowships that keep on happening. Now, I'm assuming the next question might be where do we get access to this awareness? Where do we get access to this information about fellowships? And I'll also circle back later about the networking effects that happen here, which might be pretty obvious, but I think one of the greatest achievements right now of my career would be via this fellowship and one of the networking events that we had, right? Yeah. So there are a couple of websites actually. It is pretty simple. I think opportunities for youth, if you would have heard of something. And I think study for, yeah, scholarship study. These are very common websites. Scholarship is generally India-based scholarships that are done by corporates and other stuff. Study for Buddy is the right name. Yeah, so I think, and others opportunities for youth. Once you type in opportunities for youth, you'll get a host of five, six websites that are dedicatedly done for this. Just go and sign up, put your email, you'll get a weekly briefer or a daily briefer about what are the opportunities. And just to satisfy, we are young. I also know we want to travel for fellowships. I have done that and it is easy. You get the fellowship, they do or everything paid, everything all inclusive. You just go and attend the fellowship 3, 4 days. You get to meet new people, amazing people, and these are people who have done something very extraordinary. Because when you think from their perspective, there is always a mix of cohort. So you are at stage one, there might be someone who is at stage four, there might be someone who's at stage eight. So you're meeting them, and somewhat your idea might be linked to them also. So it might be just, that perfect mix that you wanted, right? So that is pretty helpful. And I think a lot of my peers just went to Germany for this business fellowship in April, and now a couple of them are also getting a $20,000 grant. And $20,000 grant is not smaller by any means. You convert it into INR terms, it is roughly what, 20 lakh rupees odd, not less. So that's a huge, and it's a one-time grant. You can just work it out. You can just use that to work extensively on a startup, hire a couple of folks. If it doesn't work out, doesn't work out. It's not the end. That's why they'll support the policy guy. The fellowship will support you time and again. Right. So that was a quick debrief from my side about how to apply for these fellowships and why to apply for them. I think more than how I wanted to focus on the why, because I still feel I talk to a lot of people, I take a lot of these sessions, but I still feel there's the lot of awareness that can be built around why to build this. Yeah. Now coming on to my next thing would be a Hult price, of course, right? So I think for many of those who are not introduced to Hult price, it is the largest global social entrepreneurship competition for students exclusively. The keyword being for students, and the winner gets $1 million check. $1 million again. very huge amount. And the top eight or top actually the top 30 global, they fly to London all inclusive again. Last year from India, a team from IIT Roorkee went till the top eight. So there have been instances that India is leading on this on forefront. This year also, hopefully the startup quality is really good. So we'll see something there. So why am I talking about Hult price, right? So my main objective is like again, just like to reiterate a few of my points. When I said key networking from fellowships, right? So I met the national coordinator for Hult in the B Business Fellowship, right? So when I met him in fellowship, I explained him what I was doing, how passionate I was about social entrepreneurship. I have a project of my own going on. So that's what I applied for. I help those artisans, I help XYZ. So we just clicked together. I was talking, he gave me a debrief about Hult. I thought, okay, this is something really amazing. This feels like it. I joined Hult as a campus director that year. I organized a small in college event that year. I think we restarted Hult in SR after 2, 3 years. Good event around good judges. We had the Feeding India, just the philosophical arm of Zomato, the CEO from there. We had the Rajiv, the Tata Power HR head. So couple of good people, couple of good judges, couple of good teams, and the team from my college also went till top eight for the nationals. So yeah. So I think I digress. Sorry, my bad. I digressed a bit, but I think the point remains that the networking opportunities are amazing. I think one of another colleague of mine in the fellowship, I am partnering with him extensively today with his sister organizations, namely Think India, Indian Vidyarthi, Indigenous, etc., etc. We are on a call daily, night, bashing out our minds about how can we do that, what should we do next. So all those things matter because it's all about access in today's world, right? Access is the currency. Nothing, it is the true currency. That's what I truly believe. How do I get access to people who have accomplished a lot? How do I get them? If I just DM on LinkedIn, hi, can we please, hi, I wanted to connect for some advice, they won't reply. That is the brutal truth. However, you want to frame it, unless you're one of the lucky ones, they won't reply. They'll just go out because they're getting thousands of replies. So there's no point in that, right? How do I do that? I can just type, hi, I'm the national coordinator for Health Prize India. I wanted to have a quick chat for getting you on board as an advisory figure for Health Prize. He would be more than happy. So what is the Health Prize actually giving me? It is giving me access. So what did Mercedes-Benz gave me? It gave me access. So yeah, pretty much we can discuss if any of you is interested in Hulk Play, especially, please ping me up. We can discuss it separately. I'm very keen on social entrepreneurship in India as well. I have a project of my own. It is focused on reviving Shola peat artisans in the in the Kolkata district of West Bengal. And I got the EOS scholarship for the same. So you just can just see the compounding effects, right? I just had a rare, uh, raw idea. I got in through Mercedes-Benz by luck, just pure luck, and just by grit also. I had applied to hundreds and 200s of fellowships. It was just 1/200 that I got in. Though that 0.5%, I made that 0.5%. I just increased my luck surface area. As simple as that. Nothing extraordinary I did. I just applied to a lot of things and one clicked. There's nothing special, very basic, right? I got the raw idea from there. I went in with my raw idea of Shola Peat there. I progressed it, I developed it. Then I got the EVA scholarship for the same idea. EVA scholarship, I got some prize money for that as well. I developed that idea into again. I'm working on the same idea right now. And hopefully I'm trying to look for partner NGO there that will run the idea now. I'll just be in the advisory space for that. Amazing, right? Yeah, so now moving on, I think next I would like to just talk about something. Yeah, I think again, UN Millennium is something I missed pretty much. Yeah, Prachi, please go on ahead.
Yes. So you talk about that you are working on an idea. How to find that idea? Like, did you do some particular research or read something? You just told that what is going in environment, just look at that. But in what section do you think the idea will more work out? Is it pharmacy? Is it medical? Is it technology?
See,
Yes.
that is, I think, amazing question, first of all. Thanks for asking that. The question is pretty spot on, right? I just said, okay, look for ideas in the environment, but which area? So I think in today's time, I have been also, just with nature of my work, I have been engaged with a couple of these climate guys. So they are pretty interested in funding everything that has the word climate and it is somehow connected to reducing greenhouse emissions. Somehow something happens. And I think when since you've asked the question, I'll just go deep dive into this topic, right? Your idea can be as simple as just trying to somehow. So there's the concept of EPR, Extended Producer Responsibility, right? The government of India is planning to do something for the cigarette companies in the next 3-5 years. There is a draft bill in proposal. You know this thing, right? Now you know this, okay, this is happening. Now you have to think from the company perspective. They'll have a lot of compliance. They have an extended producer responsibility for the uninitiated. I just know that if you're manufacturing plastic or something harmful, you have to do something so that it recycles back into the society. Very simple. What will you do? You think, okay, I should develop something of that sort which helps them capture this plastic, right? Again, if ITC is there, they are doing cigarettes. Cigarette butt is the main plastic component in that. How do I try to recycle the cigarette butt? If I have a machine or something, if I have a good, okay, I'll just reframe this last bit, right? So we are at cigarette butt contains a lot of plastic. But now think of it in terms of how do I collect those cigarette butts? It must be very difficult because it is so small and segregation can't be possible unless there's segregation at source. If it is segregation at source, then collection should be difficult, ideally, because the unit economics won't make sense. Logistically, it won't make sense, right? So next you think, what if I collect only from the hotspots? Hotspots would be corporate parks, airports. A lot of these have specific smoking areas, so the logistics would make sense for me. So I collect that, and I try to, okay, I won't get into the complexities of that, but I collect that and try to make something of that plastic. In simple words, best out of waste. Best out of waste in the most simple words, right? I have to make best out of waste. I maybe make those potters which are used for home composters. That is actually being happening right now. I maybe make the bean bag के अंदर का there is a plastic, that is the foam, that is I can make that. Again, that is being happened right now. So you just have to think from different perspectives. One is, again, most effective is always the policy. Government always has something in mind, and government always gives an indication 3-4 years prior about any upcoming policy change that they have in form of the draft bill or working paper generally. This is the working paper we have. And working paper in broader terms is the government is trying to, just get a sense check about what is the public sentiment or is the company sentiment around this. So one is the policy part. Second would be, again, I think you can just try and copy what the guys are doing in US, America, in US, Europe. It works fantastically. It has worked pretty well. It has worked for minimalist, 4,000 crore brand sold to HUL last year. If they can make a 4,000 crore brand out of just simply copying an idea from a US startup, and you can read them, they also claim that self. It's not that, who am I saying? It's genuinely 100% copy, same pattern, same everything. They just took that idea, they had execution spot on. So second source is you can just go and copy if you're not able to find that. And third is, again, it is the most hard one, but the most effective. Okay, actually there are four also. There's the fourth one as well. The third one might be something of that sort. You're trying to network a lot. You when you get into these fellowships, you try and meet a lot of people. They're generally looking for a lot of co-founders. You can try an idea with them as well. So when I say co-founder, it's not necessarily that they have an idea, you have to do that. You can try and ideate for an idea at that point itself. And last is again doing your own research, just being more aware of the surroundings. Ki what are the problems that we are facing? How would I like to solve that? Like, right. I
Got
think,
it.
yeah.
Makes sense. Thank you so much. It will help me a lot.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah. So now coming back, I think I was talking about, you know what, the UN Millennium part, right? UN Millennium, I think I'm not sure whether it has a presence in HR college or not, but most easiest thing to do, just go out today and fill up the form. You will have a high chance of going in. They have a massive network. I think over 1 lakh, I'm not sure of the figures, but 1 lakh, 2 lakh figures, 1 lakh, 2 lakh students annually they do for a scholarship. It's more just getting some sort of tag in your CV to get access to more fellowships. Okay, he has at least something, he has something, right? So when you apply for a bigger fellowship, you need to have a smaller thing. You need to have a brand. Just as in placements and internships, you have brands, you have to have brands in these as well. You start at the lowest, like UN Millennium, something, a local NGO, something, so that there is some proof, right, for the other side as well. Ki there's something going on, there's the proof. Okay. Yeah, I'll So again, UN Millennium might be the first thing. For UN Millennium, you can just go to Google, type UN Millennium Fellowship. You can navigate the website. It's fairly simple. You'll find it. And for others, you have to go and search a bit about fellowships, like on websites like Opportunities for Youth. It is the most comprehensive website, Opportunities for Youth. Once you type that, you'll find three, four more website links, similar name .org.com. Just that difference, but a significant difference in terms of opportunities that are getting captured in all of them, right? So that is more than enough to apply. Just apply a lot. And when you start applying, you will get somehow into one, and then the network effect starts building in. There are a lot of, I think, Global Shapers Mumbai is pretty active. Yeah, and I think the people you meet there are not they are just something incredible. It is just getting that network. When you go into Global Shapers Mumbai, you will see that those people are doing something incredible. It not be that they're meeting every weekend. It's not necessarily that you have to be talking about the startup. They can talk about the professional life. Where I'm facing this issue. How can I solve this? Generally, the problem is that they have a referral or a solution within that 20, 30 people odd group only, because they are of so high caliber and so high experienced. One of my friends had bought plastics for food for a Switzerland-based NGO into India 5 years back. Now he's doing amazing, I think, and he comes from a very humble background. And I think for the past 2, 3 years, half the year he travels in Germany, Switzerland, and whatnot, simply because he had the courage to talk to the guys in Switzerland by reaching out to them. He opened the NGO there, and it is one of the most well-known NGOs in Mumbai as of right now in terms of food distribution, especially. Right. So now, again, sorry for the digression, but moving ahead, yeah, we have covered a bit about social entrepreneurship. We have covered. I'll just try to talk about a bit about EY as well. I feel it might be pretty important. So EY scholarship, I think fairly simple process. I think, but this is one of those scholarship in which you need to have a very solid execution plan as well. It's not the idea only fellowship. You need to have an execution plan in place, and you need to have some execution. We're all ready that I have done this. I have the go-to-market strategy ready with me. I'll do this ahead, right? And I think they select 10 winners each year. Each winner gets a good cash prize. So that is. pretty much it. But I think most important in EY scholarship is that alongside that, you get access to the partners, and these are big four partners, not normal. The big four partners and an internship in your domain field in which you're interested. I interned at IB in EY, which got me the IB role that I'm currently. Most of you might think this doesn't make sense as I don't want to build a career in social entrepreneurship. But it is not just a career in social entrepreneurship, it can help build your career into finance as well, into consulting, into anything. Just because I had built up all of that at the back end. When the EY opportunity came, I applied and luckily enough, I got in. When I got in there, I did the internship, it got in my CV. It was highlighted that a very few undergraduate students do an internship in EY and IB. I explained that in my interview went well, and again, luckily, I got in O3. So I think the you can see the timeline, you can see the compounding effect or the ripple effect, to be more precise, of what happened, why happened, and how it just made sense. Again, a lot of it is purely because of luck. I was just lucky at some points, nothing else. But again, increasing your surface luck areas, a philosophy that I personally believe in a lot also. So if any questions on the social entrepreneurship in this segment before I try to deep dive into the placement thing or the internships, networking, etc., XYZ. Please feel free to ask. I think I wanted it to be a two-way session.
Sir,
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, Himani, go ahead.
sir, what do you think made them choose you among all the candidates so that we can get an idea what should the process be to get into one of the EY scholarship or something?
I think your voice was a bit feeble, but let me just reiterate your question. You wanted to know what was different about my profile in terms of others in the fellowships, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, great. And you can please call me Devansh. For everyone, please don't call me sir. Yeah, and what is thanks, Niharika. I think, yeah, I'll just address all of these questions. Yeah, Rishit. Oh, yeah, I'll just address all of these questions one by one, right? I think first, Himani, I think the answer is there at the start, there cannot be nothing unique in me because you can just work for it goes building by building blocks, right? So I'll just take a more deep dive very quickly because I'm also aware of the time about how happened and what happened, right? First year, I got into Enactus. It gave me somewhat the social entrepreneurship thing that I always had. कि यार कुछ करते हैं इसमें, there's something I can do, I can make the world better, XYZ, all of that things. And when I worked for Enactus for a year, I realized, okay, this is something, but I want to do it on a bigger level. I didn't continue with it although, but I realized, okay, there is some scope and there's a lot of potential in this right now. I was aware of the macros as well. कि a lot of things are going on. There's a good potential, right? So then I started applying. I first applied, I think, around first 30, 40 fellowships were a plain reject for me. I was just disqualified by the technical criteria that they had. You had to work on, let's say, two projects. You have to be that much years of age, you have to have that much experience. I couldn't even apply. I had that barrier. But when you are trying to find something, somewhat will pop up which makes sense. First, for me, it was first is UN Millennium. I think that was very student centric. It is purely a student centric fellowship. So it got me the break that I wanted and it made sense for me. Then post UN Millennium, Mercedes-Benz Visioners came for me. And then I think I just got the hang of it. How are things working? How it is making sense. Then post Mercedes, I was with Hult Place for a very, very long time, and I'm still with them. I learned a lot. I think one of the best experiences for college across me is Hult. And then post Hult, I got EY because of all of my experiences. I knew what the interviewers wanted, what they wanted to have clarity about, because I had been on the other side, judging a lot of these startups, judging, trying to figure out what have holds potential, what not. So all of that, right? So I think when you search, firstly, you will face some initial rejection. There's no doubt about that. But then you'll develop your own feeling about, okay, this makes sense because it is student centric. I have this much experience. Okay, it requires 10, but I have 6. So let me just try and put in a shot. When you apply in 10, 15 of those, one clicks back. And on the sides, just for I wanted to continue, and I was always a big fan of trying to align with what the government wants. Like with the EPR thing, I'm working with a factory in Goa which produces EPR equipment, which analyzes gases that release out of factories, right? So I'm working with them in a consultancy position, right? So those are things I know कि अब government wants to do this, so 110% that industry will boom. So I was always in the policy side, so I worked with Project Statecraft for 2 odd years. And very funnily enough, I met the founder first time in person at the fellow Mercedes-Benz Fellowship. So it's a small ecosystem. You just have to get in. Getting in first time is the tough, but after that, it's very easy. So yeah, I hope it answers your questions. If you have anything incremental to ask.
Yes, sir. Sir, excuse me. And what was your educational profile back then when you applied for that scholarship?
I was a second year college undergraduate.
Okay, okay, that's commendable, really.
Okay, nothing education profile doesn't matter when you are looking at these fellowships. They are not looking at your education at all. It's the last thing they're looking at. They just want to see your idea of what is your personality and how dedicated are you for it. Nothing
Okay, sir.
else.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, Nisha, you can go ahead.
Sir, I wanted to ask that even if I have an idea for a startup, but
Mhm.
how can I execute it if I don't have any help? I don't have any knowledge. Like, even if I do research, I would get thousands of things that can mess up the thing now. So, like, how to execute?
Yeah, I think this is a very, very valid question. So, I think couple of parts here on how to execute. One is again, I think I am speaking this a lot, but while you're trying to execute, try to find a community. I think in Mumbai they have a founders running club. Every Saturday they are going. Try to join these community events. You'll find someone who has done this, who has done somewhat similar, and you take that help. And the best part about when building a startup in this sector or anything, especially for this sector, I know, and when you go to these community events, everyone is extremely helpful. They will go out of their way to help you out. So if you have asked for one help, they'll provide with three. So you have a lot of clarity about what they have done. And when you talk to those people, you realize कि यार, okay, it might seem obvious in hindsight, but it makes sense for them how they have scaled up, how they've planned their ops, right? And second, and ये सब जब कर रहे हैं साथ में, you just keep on applying. And generally, when you're starting a startup, it's always helpful, I think, to find someone by approaching on LinkedIn. Can you please advise me, whoever, let's say if you're trying to build something in I don't know. Let's say you're trying to build an NGO in in the food space, right? You'll try reaching out to maybe Feeding India's Zoomato's philanthropic arm, somewhat some senior employee there. They'll reply. It's a 110. I can stick my neck out for anyone that they will reply. They'll give you some amount of time, and in that time you have to just basically engage with them properly. You can just go unprepared to a meeting and say this was an introductory, I want this help. You have to show a lot of progress to them. Ki I have done this till now. You have to take a proper word, proper slide. If it's taking presentation is always helpful. Yeah. So you have to take the slide. Okay, this is what I have done. This is what I'm the problem I'm facing. How can I go ahead? I'm stuck at this. I have thought of one, two, three solutions, but I don't know which is the best one for me. Can you help me with that? They won't, and if it's a good mentor, they won't generally, no one will give you the solution. They'll just tell you how to approach it. And when you make some mistakes in the approaching part, you realize, okay, these three were entirely wrong. You have carved out a fourth one for yourself. So that's what generally happens. That's what I have also seen happen personally in a lot of spaces to me as well. So that is, I think, the idea here. So in Mumbai, I think Founders Running Club, you should start going in definitely if you have an idea, or if you're even just looking for an idea to somewhat explore and yeah.
Yes, yes, yes.
Mhm. Okay, so I'll just take Prishit's question. Applying these programs and specifically for finance. I think there is no finance centric fellowship, at least that I am aware of. There might be something in climate intersection finance, but I am not aware of exactly. But if you have done good things in climate and if you have decent enough finance knowledge, it might make sense for anyone. For a few IBs are coming up nowadays, a few global IBs are there, boutique global IBs, which are doing practically for all purposes only climate financing deals and all of that stuff. Yeah, and I think a lot of private equity funds have a mandate that they can only invest in somewhat that helps the climate get better. Niharika, I'll take up a question at the last. Coil, did you pursue an MBA or CFA to crack IB? Yeah, no, no, I am an undergraduate. I did my undergraduation from SRCC, and I think I have done two levels of CFA, so that helped. But right now, I would say CFA is not the degree that it used to be. A lot of it is commercialized. So if you're hoping कि I have done CFA, I'll get a foot in the door, it won't happen. What will happen if you if let's say two people are there, both have same profiles, but one has done CFA, it might give a slightly better edge to him. But that other person, just because he has CFA, it cannot be that he is at the other person level. CFA is more now a complementary degree. It cannot be it is an add-on degree, it cannot be a main degree. To clarify further, matlab, I have done it, it sounds counterintuitive for me to also do it, but I think last 2, 3 years a lot has changed. The CFA has been commercialized a lot in India, and think the value add is not as much as in foreign you would see a CFA getting the recognition. Not the same in India, definitely. Yeah, yeah, I think Niharika, I'll just take your question at the very end. Think I'll talk about it for a brief, right?
So what do you suggest along with CFA? What one should do, like have a better education in, like if one get into IB after undergraduation, because breaking into IB is like you have to do master, right? So what stands out if you are just doing CFA?
Yes, I think Prachi, the question is also somehow flawed, I would say. It's not that you need to have an master's for getting into IB. That concept, it might hold true for only for bulge bracket banks are those very big banks. I think JP Morgan Stanleys of the world, those type. But for others, you can get for all practical purposes for India specific IBs, boutique IBs, you can get after undergraduation definitely. So how to get into IB? I'll cover it subsequently in the next 15 odd minutes. I think I'll try to wrap it up. I think that will answer question. Others you can always circle back at the end, right? Yeah.
Got
Yeah. So I think moving on ahead to what you all must be, I think, more looking for is right. How to do a very good internship, how to crack IB, what to do about placements, CV, XYZ, everything, right? So I'll just talk about it for a brief. So I think for me, the genesis is that getting good placement is always an outcome of your internship. And good internship is the outcome of your cold mailing and networking skills. Network, I won't comment on that, how to build, what to build. I have talked about in the previous half an hour or so a lot about network, and trust me, that climate network is very extensive. People have gotten good internships because of that in finance as well. So everyone knows, basically everyone, someone will know someone who can get you an internship. So that is one way to network. And there are other ways, the usual LinkedIn, meeting out, expressing out. Like, so that I won't talk about that. I think every one of you is smart enough to know at this point how to network effectively, right? But what I still feel lacks a lot is the art of cold mailing, right? So cold mailing is pretty tough, seems pretty easy to do. Ki just have to write a mail. You can just use Chat GPT simply. What's stopping? It gives a decent enough mail. It should work ideally, right? But it isn't the case actually. I feel writing a mail is one of the most important things to have. And I'm also taking a few classes right now accidentally for on how to write mails. It it might seem, I know, a lot counterintuitive. You might say कि it doesn't make any sense यार कि AI के ज़माने में कौन लिखता है मेल. But writing a good mail is excellent. Yeah, so I'll just talk about for a minute or so on what should an ideal mail, ideal cold mail be, right? Think very simple subject. Oh, the subject should be as such: internship application, your name, and for what role. It should be as simple so that the reader can just get context, and then post that you'll go into the subject. Subject shouldn't be, it should be as long as I can see it within my screen. Three bullet points or four, not more than that, not the traditional three paragraphs, a thank you note at end, a warm introduction, company specific, not that. I'm talking about finance cold mail, especially what those three paras, what I can bring to your company, XYZ, that may work. That works exceptionally well for a startup. If you want to apply for a strategy role for consulting startup, everything that may apply. But here, just to clarify, I'm talking about finance roles. In finance, if you have a good drafted mail, you have one step ahead already. First would be something introduction, XYZ hi. I'm looking just two, three brief liner about your profile, and then two, three bullet points about what you have done, which should summarize your CV ideally, right? And it should somehow relate with their firm as well, ki what they are doing. And how to personalize it. If the firm specializes in healthcare, try to highlight something healthcare specific which you have done in your CV. If you haven't done, just go on, take 2 3 days out, make a healthcare summary report or something, make a healthcare stock pitch on somewhat and attach that so that they can see some proof of work. As simple as that. Right. Next, you just close the mail. Looking forward to speak with you. Very simple. Matlab, I think I skipped the nuances. Matlab, you have to, of course, for you can't just write looking forward to speak with you. But very short and crisp mails work excellent. And people are more likely to open that. Timing the mail at a good time. I think preferably post lunch, not on Monday. Never send mails on Monday morning. It will get lost amongst all the clutter. But if you send somewhat around post lunch, generally people are in a good mood. So people are pretty apprehensive at that time. So these minute things like timings also matter in cold mailing. And of course, you can make use of all the mass softwares like Gmerge, Google Sheets, etc., that mail merge, Gmerge, etc. All of that extensions are readily available. Yeah. So, and now next, Yeah, oh, so most importantly, how do you extract the mail IDs? I'm not sure if just anyone can give me a sense check if the lot is aware of how to extract mail IDs and contact numbers out of LinkedIn profiles. Dhanashree, if you could just chip in and help me, what generally takes place? I'm not sure.
For the LinkedIn.
Yeah, LinkedIn mail ID extraction. If
Okay, usually even when our committee is doing events, we just reach out to speaker via messages. So we don't exactly extract emails or phone numbers like that. And maybe ask them directly for it to connect with us on it.
Okay, fair enough. I'll just then I think it might be helpful for you all. It is incredibly helpful for me at the very least. I have done a lot of networking. I've bragged a couple of my internships via this. Just cold mailing people and trying to just be after their lives simply. I'll just give an anecdotal example, right? I've been throwing a lot of words here and there. So for my Mirai internship, I had been engaged the with ma'am for more than a year that I want to do. Please mentor me. I I was of the sense that I don't have the profile that they would want. I don't have the kind of profile that would stand out amongst the lot that they might be receiving. So I just asked for her to mentor me. And people are again very helpful. Always assume people are helpful and they will help. So I said, mentor me. She mentored me for a year. Then I asked, hi, is there any opportunity for me to intern under you? When you worked for someone senior with a year, they have that much pull and power. They can get an intern under them. I'm, and one of the most funny stories is at that time itself, I was doing a couple of case competitions as well, right? So during one of the case competitions, I met one of at Mirai Assets, I think regional head as the judge. And I talked to him like, yeah, I'm trying to approach ma'am for the internship. Yeah, yeah. And they both talked. So the ma'am, I won't disclose her. Let's say, I just keep it ma'am. The ma'am, the head who came was the ma'am's boss. So I approached him. He was pretty impressed with my presentation at that time. So all the things just clicked at that time. The things just favored for me, right? Because I had done something 1 year back, and I had done this for not for only one company, I had done it for a bunch of companies, 40, 50 odd companies. And it just one of them worked out for me, very simply. So it is all I always feel key a lot is you are trying so much that somewhat or somewhere something will click. Just get your hands in everywhere at this time. If you are a first, second year course student, you just try to dip your hands into everything. You will somehow कुछ तो benefit मिल ही जाता है for us. And I think for LinkedIn, I don't have Apollo on this laptop of mine. But yeah, I think for LinkedIn, the most important way to outreach is, except for messages, of course, the best way is trying to use tools like Apollo.io, SalesQL, Rocket Region, etc. There are a lot of tools. So I think I'll just show a demo. I think it might be helpful. If just give me a second, right? I hadn't planned this, but why not? I think it might be incredibly helpful. Right. So just give me a second. And I think in the meanwhile, I can probably speak about a couple of case competitions. So I think again, case competitions is another way to network very beautifully and win that extra pocket money that you're always looking for in college. I'll be very honest. See, my primary motivation at the start to do case competition was building CV, but after point of time you are just bored. Ki it is same. It's not interesting me. Blah blah blah. Then and it is I'm not getting wins. It is unfair. It is biased. XYZ. But somehow accidentally, generally, you try to. That is the time when you win a first comp, and that's it. You see the cash. The color of money is green. You see, are okay for a week's effort. I got 5K. It's not bad, and that keeps happening. And I know in college, everyone of us is looking for generally extra money. So case competitions again. This is I'll say an extreme best way to earn money, but that is not. I think that was just something that I overshared. But I think main is that you get access to people. You meet a lot of good people there, and in the meanwhile you build up your industry knowledge as well. So let's say if the typical, and for case competitions you can always just download Unstock and see what are the competitions going in, and you can also get those internship interviews, internships in itself via these comps as well. A lot of travel opportunities for the corporate case comps, but for normal college-wide case comps, again, pretty good ways to meet other college people, build a network from the early start, and also most importantly, having something to speak in placement interviews when you reach out, right? So when you do a couple of case comps are very industry centric. You have a EV case, so you have to read up everything about electric vehicles in India, policy, manufacturing, XYZ, क्या हो रहा है, क्या नहीं, XYZ, you have to read up on everything to reach the top three, right? So when you have done all of that, you know the whole industry in and out. You have done scanned through all the reports. That is it. Case comps help a lot in terms of your industry knowledge, getting access to people, and most importantly, uh, getting that knowledge for speaking in interviews. I think I'll just screen share. Right. Yeah, I think my screen is visible. So Apollo is the most simple and most easy to use. You just go on Apollo, you sign in everything, and you just search. Let's say I search for any company, Tata. This is just okay. I'll just do a quick search. Hmm, Tata HR head. Head HR at the Tata Elixir. Okay, cool. I'll just do that. Hmm. I have the mail ID. Now I can just shoot off a mail to them and go crazy, right? I can do that for n number of people. LinkedIn, I have that limit. I cannot. The person has to first accept my connection request. Then only I can text. Even if I have LinkedIn Premium, there are only certain 100 odd requests you can send per week. There's still that limit. That limit always exists, right? So using these tools, I had this slightly elaborative way, but generally what happens is in your LinkedIn, you have, I don't have actually the extension in Chrome, but you have the extension. Whatever, if I, let's say if I would have opened this profile, somewhat would have come, and I think I would have got the mail ID here itself. Apollo logo would have popped it and it would have given me the mail ID here. So that is perfect. And like Apollo, there are few tools like same tools like SalesQL, Rocket Reach, a lot of them. Amazing tools, they work well, and this is the best way to meet people and to connect with them. Cold mailing is typically this. Typical cold mailing talks is this, right? So yeah. Yeah, right. I think so I'm very mindful of the time. I'll just try to speak a bit for I think 5 or 8 minutes. I won't take long than that, I promise. Just to how to crack IB, which I think might be a quick question for all of you, I think, and a quick question that is generally asked, right? It is how to crack IB. करना क्या है IB में? It is very hyped कि भाई IB करनी है हमें, but what happens? What is taking place, right? So IB is I think very fairly simple. I won't talk about what is IB, क्या है क्या नहीं. But what to do if you get an IB interview? How to prep for IB, right? I think first is like CF is not the course for it, but उसमें से एक दो subject are very helpful. Like I would speak in level 2, CFA equity is a subject in CFA level 2. I would request all of you should read that if anyone has an interest in valuation in IB or any role in finance. It is an excellent book for how to value companies. It works well on public companies, on private companies, all of them. Perfect. So you don't need to do CFA to have that knowledge, not burn the money, but instead just focus on key things कि क्या हो रहा है भाई पता होना चाहिए. And then basic again using a lot of resources like Wall Street Journal, Red Book. These are some holy grails that all of us have used, and you can just find them by simple search on the Google. These are very, very comprehensive materials which can be seen, which are extremely helpful for, for covering the whole interview aspect of IB कि कैसे IB छोड़ो किसी भी फाइनेंस रोल में इंटरव्यू देने जा रहे हैं यही क्वेश्चन हो सकते हैं उसके बियॉन्ड देयर इज हार्डली एनीथिंग दैट कैन बी आस्क्ड राइट. Now, post that there's some more key, you should have a few industry pitches ready. Whatever your, let's say, internship sector was, internship, whatever you have worked, generally, you have worked on a sector, you have to have an industry, you have to know that industry in public market inside out and have 2 to 3 stock market pitches for that. There's no you can't bargain on that. There is no bargaining on that. I think one tip from my side, if you're appearing for any interview in finance, always be ready with all of that. Plus, try to, you know, just before the night or a couple of days back, try to recall the numbers. What is the trading multiple of those? Your trading multiple 15x of EBITDA hai, 30x of revenue hai multiple. What are the trading multiples for this in India, in global क्या multiples हैं? What are the key ratios की let's say if it's a bank इनका net interest margin 5% है industry तो 4.5 पे चल रही है they're better this. So when you speak these things in finance interviews, it is bang on the buck, just perfect. That is, the interviews don't last very long. They're short stints, 15, 20 high stress test interviews. But if you know these numbers, they are more than happy and they don't care. कि ठीक है, I don't want to know more than that. He knows his shit. He knows what is happening. That's it. Yeah. And I know I haven't spoken a lot about IB, how to crack everything, but yeah, I think for interview, I can definitely say do these couple of things plus try to read those Wall Street Journal, 400 IB questions, all of that. Those are helpful for every finance job that there exists anyway, right? And if anyone wants to crack, let's say, a equity research role very keen, he is like, क्या मेरे को करना ही है finance में, if not बस finance में कुछ करना है मेरे को. Best way is start ट्रैकिंग पब्लिक सेक्टर कोई दो इंडस्ट्री पकड़ लो हर इंडस्ट्री में एक एक कंपनी देख ली है ना लेट्स से यू हैव टेकन ऑटोमोटिव इंडस्ट्री यू हैव टेकन टाटा मोटर्स go deep down build a 30-40 pager report that should be similar to an initiating coverage report of other brokerage houses right for that report you should have a model in hand and you should have that report summary as well. You should listen to all con calls of the company and अगले quarter जो con call है उसमें see who which analyst is attending that call. You get the list. You can see that. Search for those analysts on LinkedIn Then send them a request. They won't accept, most probably. If they don't accept, send them a mail. Hi, sir. It was encouraging to see you asked this question on the meet. It was very helpful, smart, XYZ. Then, sir, I'm very keen on this. Could you please review and mentor me on how to go about equity research? In my limited knowledge experience, I have prepared this model and this report. Could you please help me refine the same? People will reply. And this is your first step to get connected with them. 2 years down the line, when you're out of a college, you ask for them, ki, are there any relevant opportunities? They'll say, yeah, you can expect that within 2, 3 months, or this, right? This is how you get into typical finance role. Equity research was an example because it's the most typical way you can do it, right? Yeah, so I think that was pretty much it from my side. So if anyone has any questions, I'll just answer Himani's. That includes MUNs. I didn't get Himani what the question is, MUN wala.
Sir, you were talking about case competitions, right? So
Yeah, yeah.
that includes MUNs, right?
Yeah, I think MUN and debating, that is different. Case competitions are different, but both work pretty much. MUNs and case competition and debating are generally for more of soft skills refining, whereas a case competition will give you more exposure about how to approach the industry, how to approach the problem statement, and that. I think not a lot of intersection, but the soft skill part is a key intersection. But if you are doing MUNs and debating, please try for this case competition as well. Yeah.
Okay.
Hamid has asked what courses are helpful for IB. There is no one answer that I have कि
हाँ वो इसका है ना स्पोर्ट्स लाइफ का
ये कर लो IB
ये
हो
वही
जाएगा.
मोंटी सर का
Some, yeah, so there is no single कि यार ये कर लो IB हो जाएगा भाई तुम्हारा. उससे नहीं होएगा, मतलब it is just like I told, for equity research you have to do this way. For again, for this private, you have to reach out to private market people, for to IB people as well. Hi, I have made this report on this industry. I have modeled this company. Can you please help me with that? Modeling stays constant uh, across all finance roles. And to get a sample of any report, what should it look like? Just go to Trendline, TRENDYLNE, Trendline, and see initiating sector coverage report of any brokerage house. You will get those 100 pages report. I'm not asking for 100 pagers. I'm asking for 40, 50 pager. I know it's a lot, but that's the way it is. The competition is high. We have to up our stakes and get insured. Should I do CFM first year student in accounting and finance course? I think depends a lot of what our future plans is, Rishit. Can't be a simple yes or no what to do, but a lot of it depends on the future plans, how you're thinking things, all of that as well, right? I think Saeed, I'm not the right person for USCMA definitely. So I'm sorry, but USCMA is definitely not up my alley. If we can connect separately, I'll connect you with one of my friends. He has done CMA all all levels. I think so. She has a job at KPMG. I can connect you with her. Yeah. If any more questions, otherwise.
Everyone, if you all have any more questions, you all can add it in the chat box or unmute yourselves and ask. And before we come to an end of the session, I would request people to switch on their cameras so we can take a quick picture with a speaker. Considering we are not meeting offline, a virtual picture can work with the speaker. Is there anyone else who's switching on their camera? Okay, team, can we have a quick screenshot of the picture?
Yeah, Nyak, I think, sorry, I missed your question, but biggest learning is you will get a lot of rejections, 110%. You will get a lot of rejections. There's no doubt in that. But applying to that many things that even 95, 98% rejections are up your alley, you are already comfortable that even if I get those half 1% successes, it will be more than enough for me. So that is, I think, my biggest learning is you have to just apply it to everything that is possible. This sounds a lot of counterintuitive that I to generally what we hear, but for a college student, I generally feel it is the best way to increase. We say a lot of times here that person is lucky, but what I feel is they have increased on working that by increasing the luck surface area. They have done इतनी जगह apply कर दिया, they know everyone XYZ, तो इसलिए तो हुआ है वो. That's how. So that is one of my key learnings that I always reinstate. Yeah.
If there are any more questions, y'all can reach out to Mr. Devansh whenever possible on LinkedIn. Connect with him and you all can ask any other queries or doubts you'll have directly with him, or you can ask us and we can let you all know. So yeah, Devansh, you have anything else? We have one more question.
I mean, which businesses do you own? I don't own any business as such, but I work with a lot of organizations, so that is there. I don't own any business sadly yet. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Devansh Jain, for being with us today and sharing your journey and insights. So we are all grateful to have you with us today and for your time and effort you took to guide us. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining, and we look forward to staying connected and learning more from you in future.
Mhm.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much for being here, and sorry if I extended time. Hope this was helpful.
Yes, sir. It is.
Thank you so much.